Hey guys, it's Doug. Earning extra money is on everyone's mind, but as a developer, you have a few opportunities that not everybody else has. In this video, I want to talk about 7 different ways that I've personally tried to make extra money as a developer. Some of them are more effective than others, but I think that's on a person-to-person basis. As we go through these topics, I listed them out in the order of what I think requires the least amount of technical skill to the most amount of technical skill. So the things at the very beginning will be easier, and the things at the end of the list require a bunch more knowledge, in my opinion. The first thing you can do to earn extra money as a developer is to start freelancing. Now, that might seem scary at first, but trust me, it's not that bad. I like to call freelancing the earn while you learn method, because you can take on specific projects that fit your skill set, or maybe a particular set of skills that you're trying to get better at. You have ultimate control over which technologies are used when you're bidding on a freelancer project. And also, if it's something that maybe you're not quite so familiar with, you can always try toning down your price a little bit and just making it known to your customer that maybe you're not an expert in that particular field. A lot of times, projects on websites like Fiverr, freelancer.com, or Upwork are just proof of concept projects anyway. So a lot of times the clients don't mind if you're also kind of learning as you go. One of the other really big benefits to starting off doing freelancing is that you get exposed to customer expectations, but you also get to validate your skill set. Sometimes we all suffer from imposter syndrome, and this helps with that. The second way I think you can make money as a developer is to do WordPress development. Now, there are 2 different types of WordPress development that I'm going to talk about, but the first one is actually developing WordPress websites, and the second one is more about developing WordPress themes and plugins. When it comes to developing a website, there are other tools out there, like maybe half a dozen different tools for doing drag and drop websites and things like that. And I think out of all of those, Webflow is probably the best, but also it requires you to have a little bit more technical experience to get it just right. I think with WordPress, it's a really good starting point if this is your first or your first half a dozen websites that you're working on. I take on a few WordPress sites every year. I do this when I want to make a little bit of extra money, but I don't really want to sacrifice a bunch of my time, or I don't want to have a big time burden. There are tons of small businesses all over your area that would be really happy for someone like you to help them set up a WordPress site, whether it's upgrading their current site or if it's getting them online for the first time. I've discovered what I think is a bulletproof way to prospect new clients that's not as scary as cold calling or cold emailing, but that's like a whole nother video. Developing a WordPress site isn't just about slapping in a theme and a couple of pictures and calling it a day. There's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, and you really need to understand your client's business in order to help build the right solution for them. The next way to make money with WordPress is by developing themes or plugins. Now, this comes after you get a couple of WordPress sites under your belt. Now that you understand how WordPress allows you to access the different types of posts and pages and information from the database, it really becomes pretty clear how you can build your own theme or plugin. If you're like me and you can't design your way out of a paper bag, then making plugins is probably the way to go. I couldn't design a theme to save my life. Plugins are a very profitable way to earn money, as the type of person who will generally use them is willing to pay almost anything for their website to do what they need it to do without having to build it themselves. There's literally a plugin for everything. One of the most popular plugins out there is called Backup Buddy. Its whole purpose is to literally copy the database and all of the content from the WordPress site and store it remotely. You know how much that costs? $80. If you were to develop a similar tool, you'd be making a lot of money. The third way to make extra money as a developer is to create Twitch bots or Twitch widgets. This might not seem very clear at first, but most Twitch bots and widgets are just web applications that are plugged into a stream via a browser source. So you can build a simple bot using Node.js in just 10 minutes. When I was trying to figure out how to make a Twitch bot, I built a Bean Boozled spinner for 2 of my favorite streamers on Twitch. If any of the streamers or the mods in their stream type !spin, a big spinner pops up in the middle of the screen, and it picks which Bean Boozled bean that they eat. This helps to drive engagement on their stream, but also gives them a way to make some extra money in the form of bits and donations from their viewers. Every Twitch streamer battles for their own little spot on Twitch to find their groove, and almost all of them could use a custom bot or some custom widgets and overlays to help them really give that hyper-specific feel that they're going for on their stream that all of their viewers want to see. There are already different types of paid Twitch bots that a streamer can buy, but a lot of times they come with features that they just don't need. So if you can find a Twitch streamer who's willing to pay for a bot or some overlays that react to their type of stream or do something very specific to something that happens on their stream, I think that's a good opportunity to make a little bit of extra money. In my opinion, it's a win-win because you get to develop a Twitch bot that you might even be interacting with on stream, and it helps streamers that you like take their streams to the next level. The fourth way that you can make some extra money as a developer is to do live coding. And although I haven't done much of this, there are some Twitch channels that do very good. For example, there's a streamer on Twitch who goes by Coding Garden, and they make amazing streams where they do Q&A sessions, live coding, they even work on some multi-stream projects and custom overlays and bots right on stream so people can ask them questions about what they're doing and help them out with their development. I know that when I'm watching one of those streams, I see tons of bit donations going on, and it's really clear that there's some money being made on that stream. The fifth way that I think you can start making some more money as a developer is to start mentoring or teaching other people about software. When I was a kid, I didn't even think that a career in software was a possibility. But nowadays, software development is widespread in all different kinds of schools, which means there are tons of students who might be looking for additional mentoring or some help on the homework that they're working on. Not only students, but there are also some post-grads who like to pick up on programming skills, whether it's just a hobby or if they maybe want to get into the field later on. It's also a possibility that you could be mentoring other developers. For example, if you know Rust, I don't, I might hire you to mentor me in order to help me learn the Rust programming language, and that would be a lot faster than me buying a book and going through it, and then doing a bunch of sample projects just so that I can figure out the nuance of the language. I would much rather pay for you to help me with that than to do it on my own. Now, if you're a real badass, one thing that you could do is you could create Skillshare classes or teachable classes, either in the form of a really big video, or you could film with a bunch of different sessions and put together an entire curriculum of classes that people can follow so that you can teach them what you know about software development. Chances are you've been around YouTube a while and you know that many of the big YouTubers are selling classes on how you can become just like them. That's the same thing, but for software development. One of the great things about creating classes on Teachable or Skillshare is that once you get them filmed and you get all the course materials put together, it's really a passive form of income. Many of these classes go for as much as $300, $400, $500. Some of them even cost thousands of dollars. And if that's something that you can offer for somebody, and then you can step away from it and let them go through your class, that's money that you're making, but you don't have to work for it right now. You put in the work ahead of time, but you keep getting paid after the fact. The sixth thing you can do in order to make more money as a developer is to consider switching your jobs, or even just switching roles within the company that you're at right now. According to Forbes, you can make as much as 9% more in your yearly salary just by switching jobs, even if you keep the same role you have right now. It's really difficult for a company trying to hire somebody to offer the same or lower pay than an incoming applicant is already making. But it's important to keep in mind that some employers might not hire you if they see that you're jumping around jobs a lot. I recommend to stay with the employer for at least a year. That'll help you really decide if you want to stay there long term or not, or if you want to move on again. It also gives you enough time that if you do plan on moving on, it doesn't look like you're just constantly jumping every few months to different jobs. That could be a real turnoff for some companies. But what if you really like your current company and you don't want to leave, but you want to make more money? One thing you can try doing is you can try switching roles. If you're a software engineer now, maybe you should talk to management about getting on a path towards senior software engineer or a tech lead role. If you're already a senior engineer, you may want to consider looking at the architect position as well. If none of those sound appealing to you, but you're okay being behind a desk and doing more managerial tasks instead of day-to-day development, maybe you consider moving up and over to more of a management role than an active development role. Even if you end up switching back to the same role that you had before, it's pretty unlikely that you're gonna take a pay hit, so you might as well try it. Okay, so the last thing and the most difficult thing on this list that you can do that'll definitely make you some more money as a software developer is to build a SaaS. But building a SaaS is not for the faint of heart. By this time, I would expect that you're already a senior engineer or a software architect and that you really know what you're doing, because it takes a lot of skills to build a SaaS product. A SaaS is going to need a manageable and pleasant admin UI. It'll need to support multi-tenant. It'll need to be fault tolerant. You definitely need to integrate with third-party billing. A subscription model is ideal. Your SaaS needs to be scalable or elastic, depending on the type of service you have. Scalable if you have a predictable amount of load on your servers and you just need to add more in order to support a larger number of users, or elastic if the type of service you have is going to get hit really hard sometimes and barely at all other times. And on top of all of this, your SaaS idea needs to be highly marketable. You can build something that solves the solution, but if you're not able to market it and actually get the right eyes onto your project, no one's going to use it, and you spent all of this time and effort developing something that no one's ever going to use. Although the SaaS option might have the largest upside, it also has the most risk of failing. Hopefully at least one of the things in this list inspired you to go out and try something to earn a little bit of extra money as a developer. That's it for this video, but stick around because I plan on putting out videos on how to do WordPress websites the right way and also how to do prospecting. Thanks again for watching to the end, happy coding, and I'll see you next time.